Mr. Carl Lowe had a bad reputation in his neighborhood after years of being a loner. But when he died, Corey stepped into his house and discovered what no one ever imagined. Corey grew up in Aurora, Colorado, but he moved to a different neighborhood after receiving his real estate certification. It was a beautiful suburban area with many great people. There was only one caveat: Mr. Carl Lowe and his house. Mr. Lowe was an older man who never talked to anyone and barely left his home to get groceries. People didn't know what to think of him, and rumors started circulating among the kids. Corey's other neighbor, Mrs. Davies, liked to gossip about Mr. Lowe. "You know, the kids say that he's a former inmate and doesn't like talking to people. Some people say he murdered someone. I just wish he would fix that house," she told Corey secretly when she caught him watering the garden. "A former inmate couldn't have bought a house in this neighborhood, Mrs. Davies. Even if the house is in such bad shape, the land's still valuable," Corey argued, focused on his plans. "Oh, darling, that man's been longer there than my family. I think he bought the lot during the market crash years ago. Anyway, he's never invited anyone inside or talked to any of us since I've been here. Did you know he scared the mailman off?" the older woman asked. "Doesn't bother anyone. He's just a loner. It's not a big deal. I hope the kids don't disturb him," Corey said, uninterested in gossip. Mrs. Davies hummed in agreement and went back to her house. Days later, Corey ran into Mr. Lowe at the grocery store and wanted to greet him, but the older man was in a hurry. However, he noticed that Mr. Lowe only bought a few cheap sausages and bread. Oh, the man's poor, Corey thought. Maybe that's why he doesn't like talking to his neighbors. Even Corey had to admit that some of his neighbors were snobs. Hopefully, they would keep their children in check and not bother the older man. Meanwhile, he got busy with work and forgot all about his lonely neighbor. But one day, he got a curious listing from his boss. "Oh, hey, Mr. Sanders. This house is in my neighborhood," he told him and frowned after seeing the number. It was Mr. Lowe's house. "Yeah, Corey, some old man died and the property was listed for sale," Mr. Sanders responded. "His children are selling it?" Corey wondered. "No, private firm handling the sale. The man didn't have any family, but he stipulated the house should be sold and proceeds would go to a charity. The firm's also paying for repairs and paint because it's in bad shape. Anyway, get to work," Mr. Sanders urged. Corey went to inspect the house and get it ready for a showing. They hoped to sell the property with some of his furniture and belongings too. For the first time, he stepped foot into Mr. Lowe's home. He was in deep thought as he looked around. Everything a person owns remains right there when they die, he mused. He felt a little weird being inside his neighbor's house, but that was his job. Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story. During his assessment, Corey discovered a chest in the bedroom. He got curious and opened it. It contained a bunch of envelopes from the Aurora Ronald McDonald House, a well-known orphanage nearby. Some of the letters from the director of the charity thanked Mr. Lowe for his donations. Other envelopes had children's letters and drawings, also thanking the older man for his kindness. Then Corey decided to call the number on the envelope to talk to the director. Through that phone call, Corey learned that Mr. Lowe's wife and kids went missing years ago, and since then he's been helping the orphanage. "Yeah, Mr. Lowe's one of the kindest people I've ever met. He loved playing with the kids and gave almost his entire retirement funds to us," the director revealed. Corey couldn't believe it. His entire neighborhood thought that the man was a murderer when he was the best person in the world. "I'm gonna change everyone's mind about him," he concluded. Corey finished getting the house ready and took a few of the letters with him. He showed them to Mrs. Davies, who would probably tell everyone later. She was in tears after reading one letter about a boy who got adopted thanks to Mr. Lowe. "I can't believe it. We thought so horribly of him and he was a saint," the older woman cried. Just as Corey planned, Mrs. Davies told everyone in their suburban community, and they all organized for new donations to the Aurora Ronald McDonald House in honor of Mr. Lowe. They also took tons of flowers to his grave. They felt guilty for the way they had gossiped about Mr. Lowe all these years. Corey was glad he discovered this information so that Mr. Lowe's name was finally cleared. He also felt terrible for listening to the rumors. By the end of the month, Corey sold the house to a young couple with a baby. When his buyers asked about the former owner, he said, "He was one of the best people in the world. This community remembers him fondly. I hope you love this house as he did." It wasn't the most honest answer, but it eventually became the truth because the entire community never said a bad word about Mr. Lowe again.